presidential candidate is talking about the lack of flavor palette for white people because white people have no flavor palette. Apparently, white people hate spices. I mean, apparently.
I also feel maybe that Ben just doesn't have any non-white friends. That could be it too, because like if you hang out with people, you know, from different backgrounds, this is not an uncommon conversation to have had at any point. It's so much so that like you wouldn't even be taken aback by being like, yeah, I know, we can't handle it. I've hit mayonnaise on everything, literally, even when showering, just 2 bottles. Ah.
Or about Disney, or about Bud Light. Not even about Mr. Potato Head. No, all these things have offended them in the past, but this is a different issue now. This is about spicy food
And racism.
So Tim Walsh shared this clip from his larger discussion with Kamala Harris. The whole discussion's on YouTube, but he pulled out this clip with this caption here saying, "Listen, I'm just not much of a spice guy." So,
which I hope, like everyone who's been wish casting to see, you know, Walls on the Hot Ones, don't do that. You do that at your peril, okay? You do not want to watch an old white guy who is not into spice. Like, when an old white person tells you they're not into spice, they're not into spice. He's not joking that he finds pepper spicy, okay? Like, don't play fast and loose with it. There is some people who are like, oh, you know, I enjoy maybe the occasional Frank's Red Hot sauce. And you're like, that's not spicy. Okay, well, perhaps a little dollop of sriracha. And I'm like, that's not spicy either. No. Hot Ones is a different game, all right? I have the gauntlet, okay, in my fridge. I've done it before. And like, by the time you get to Da Bomb, you unfortunately will not be sitting there thinking of, like, you know, very nice, lucid, fun jokes to talk about or fun anecdotes or stories. You're going to be going on like ketamine and DMT levels of delusion. You're going to be sweating. You're going to see visions. You may even, you know, find some transcendent experience from it for sure, but then you're going to shit yourself uncontrollably. So I feel like it's just not something you want to see Tim Walsh do. He's going to suffer. It's not going to be cute like everything else he has done that has been cute. It's going to be either sad or just, oh God, please make this stop, because he said out loud that he's not into spicy food. So please don't do this, okay?
Oh, I'm gonna play the video for you, and then I'm gonna get to the outrage that this has caused.
Like I have white guy tacos and
what is
like
that?
black,
Like mayonnaise and tuna? What are you doing?
pretty much ground beef.
I don't know. Henry Rollins does like spicy things and it kicked ass. Yeah, but like, if you like spicy things, you're gonna have fun and enjoy it. If you hate spicy food and you find pepper, if you find pepper fucking spicy, don't do Hot Ones. Don't. It's at your peril, America.
Beef and cheese.
That's
and,
okay. Do you put any flavor in it?
No.
Oh.
Here's the deal. No, they said to be careful and let her know this, that black pepper is the top of the spice level in Minnesota, you know.
I'm the first vice president, I believe, who has ever grown chili peppers.
I'm trying to expand my food knowledge.
You know, we've got some cantaloupes. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
But let's see, like, I believe her. Unlike Hillary Clinton, where she was like, you know, I carry a bottle of hot sauce in my purse. Are you counting Tums? Is Tums hot sauce? I believe you have a little like bottle of Tums or some Pepto maybe. That doesn't count as hot sauce. I'm sorry, Hillary.
So, did you figure out why you're supposed to be offended? Donald Trump tried to steal an election.
Yes.
He wants a national abortion ban.
Yes.
He's a convicted felon running to be president.
Yeah.
And right-wing media figures are freaking out because Tim Walsh made a joke about spicy food, how he doesn't like it, as a white guy. This is apparently incredibly offensive. Now, before I get to some reactions here, and some of these people, man, you are going to laugh.
Okay, I will say the differences between, say, Taco Gate and the C-word discourse that also happened, you know, I think that was a couple years ago when, like, Hassan and a bunch of other people got kicked off of Twitch for using the C-word. I believe as a self-referential, they were white people using the C-word as well, and then they'd already given others the C-word pass, obviously, you know, allies and the such. But when that was taking place, I remember I was like, it's unfortunate because the liberals, especially white liberals right now, are actually legitimately getting really mad about this without actually, you know, looking into why this isn't the same. Like, what exactly is racism? Are we going to go down this road where we have to explain it? And I'm not talking about having to do the whole, like, you know, power plus prejudice stuff or anything like that, but you can understand the difference between, say, systemic or institutional racism and people making prejudiced jokes about a community, something like that, or self-referential humor being done by members of that group inward. But at the same time, this one, luckily, the liberals got it instantaneously. There was no big outlash or you know, outcry from liberals being like, hey, this is kind of anti-white racist. I don't think that is fair to say that white people like mayonnaise. All right, I don't think it is fair. Well, it is. Mayonnaise is delicious. Sometimes. It depends on what, but mayonnaise can be good. I think people give mayonnaise a bad rap, and obviously it's pretty funny that there are white people who can't handle any spice whatsoever. Like the idea of pepper being spicy, that's funny. It's darling. He's being relatable. He's being fun. He's like, by the way, I understand the connotations of what I'm saying right now and why this is silly, but it's not the same thing as, say, reinforcing racial stereotypes or bigotries that also have institutional factors that like oppress you in society. Like, your inability to enjoy a spicy pepper is not going to come up if the police are trying to profile you, right? Like, if they're profiling you, it's not going to be like, by the way, as a white guy, do you like mayonnaise on your tacos? And then you're like, oh, God, yeah. Not only am I being racially profiled, but he brought up the one insult that I know really hurts me to my core. This is racism. This is what it is. See, that's not what's happened. This is, again, a dude having fun and just being like, yeah, by the way, yeah, I don't like spicy food. And being, you know, I like a white guy taco. It's like, what is that? Like mayonnaise and tuna? And like, really, this is the height of racism. Again, coming from the same people who spent the last year telling everybody that they would not fly in a plane if the pilot was black. Yeah, that's racism. That's just like raw, unbridled racism that you're spouting right now. You have a racial profiling, a bigotry. You're saying that people are being hired not because of the requirements legally that every single person has to have to become a pilot, but because they were hired simply because of the color of their skin. And that's what's happening here, even though they didn't look into the fact that every single person who becomes a commercial airline pilot still has to go through the same steps. Doesn't matter what the color of your skin is. It's the amount of fucking fly time hours. You know, accruing those hours is still more important than your lack of melanin when applying for the job of a pilot. But in this case, being like, hey, by the way, it's probably pretty true that if you were to compare people who grew up in, say, Indian families and people who grew up in white families, that the people in the white family weren't as exposed to spicy food their entire lives, and so they might not have as much of a tolerance for it by the time they become a Tim Walsh. And that's what happened here. This is not the racism you're looking for.
They're stupid and don't season their food. We've all got to learn from Kamala how it's done. Ha ha ha! So original. This is actually
also, I don't know if you've ever watched Paul Joseph Watson's like super racist things on food and how about like all the greatest chefs are all white and all the Michelin star owner and restaurants are all white and all this kind of stuff. Like, I can't imagine a more sensitive group of snowflakes than people who are honestly suddenly triggered by the implication that white people don't season their food enough. Like, are you serious? This is it? Well, baby's first racism? Is that what you think is happening here? Like, again. It's the most casual and silly little thing. It's like people get mad when it's like white people can't dance. And then it's like, wait, so you get, though, that this is not part of a larger institutionalized stereotype that is basically going to reinforce, again, structural racism. You get that, right? These separate, different things are different.
Hilarious tweet if it was ironic, but it's serious. So it's a little weird. Ben Shapiro here. See, folks, it's funny that white people hate spices. Not racist at all, just funny. Fact check, Europeans like spices.
I love this, by the way, because this keeps happening. The right will see something. They know they have to do, like, oh, this is what we're talking about today, where we're putting in the NPC chip. What is it? Oh, tacos. Okay, spicy food, mayonnaise. All right, that's our NPC chip for today. But then he'll always ramp it up. Like, what? You think white people are ridiculous? What about when we colonized the majority of the planet? Oh, yeah. What about when we fought wars over spice?
Thing. She's got joy. Now, I know that when you think of Kamala Harris and that rictus smile that she likes to lay on the American people, you don't think joy.
Rictus, is that the Mad Max reference? Is that it? Or is he talking about rigor mortis? Which would, again, be an older reference that I'm not sure everyone would get.
You think more like Joaquin Phoenix and Joker, like a pathological, bizarre laugh that breaks out at all the wrong times. But the media have recast her campaign as a campaign of joy, a campaign of happiness and wonder.
Well, I mean, the other side is basically like, hey, we want to track your menstrual cycles and not let you give birth anymore. Like that you know, that's kind of weird. That's fucked up. JD's saying a lot of weird things. He's trying to reignite racism amongst the white classes. That's old-timey shit. You know, you're seeing all of a sudden this kind of like, hey, by the way, has anyone seen Gangs of New York? Oh, you mean the film about all of the bloody violence that took place in the 5 boroughs of New York between like Protestants and Catholics, Irish and Italians, and like that's what you think is a good? Okay, well, yeah, sure, go on.
Childlike innocence. And so the only interview that she has done so far is an interview with her vice president, Tim Walsh, on MSNBC. See, they didn't even bother to have an interviewer ask her questions. Instead, they had the person she picked from obscurity ask her questions about stupid crap so they could laugh and smile at each other in the most awkward, smug, and off-putting way. I mean, it's just the smarm factor here is off the chip. It really is off the charts. It's insane.
Off the chip.
I'm looking at Coach Walsh.
I have white guy tacos and
What is
like
that?
black,
Like mayonnaise and tuna? What are you doing?
pretty much ground beef and cheese.
That's okay. Do you
Yeah.
put any flavor in it?
No.
Oh.
Here's the deal. No, they.
I also feel maybe that Ben just doesn't have any non-white friends. That could be it too, because like if you hang out with people, you know, from different backgrounds, this is not an uncommon conversation to have had at any point. It's so much so that like you wouldn't even be taken aback by being like, yeah, I know, we can't handle it. I put mayonnaise on everything, literally. Even when showering, just 2 bottles. He's like, I'm white. What can I say? I love the mayonnaise. But like, I would never be like, oh shit, hey, sorry, you did racism. Did you know that? Oh yeah, that's a very hurtful and negative cultural stereotype to say that white people enjoy perhaps less spicy food or putting mayonnaise on things. Yeah, unfortunately, you just said a racism. That was a hardcore racism right there.
Said to be careful and let her know this, that black pepper is the top of the spice level in Minnesota, you know.
I'm the first vice president, I believe, who has ever grown chili peppers.
I'm trying to
You know,
expand
we'll
my
figure that-
my food knowledge.
You know what? We've got some cantaloupes. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
And he's bowing before her superior food knowledge because she's just an amazing cook. That's the one thing we've learned. She's given recipes in the past. By the way, not racist at all. When the black...
Whoa, Ben's right. I never thought I'd say this. He is correct. This is not racism, and not in the way that you think racism actually affects people in their lives. When you hear people talk about racism, I know you hear it, and then you're like, oh, the wokies and the SJWs are always talking about systemic oppression and all that kind of stuff. We're supposed to not be proud to be Americans and not love our history and things like that. It's like, no, but you should understand the history of the nation you live in. Don't try to erase it. Don't try to change the fact that this is just reality. The reality we live in is that North America, and Canada, these are colonial projects. They were built first on the genocide of indigenous people and then years and years and years of slavery. And when slavery ended, it's not as if suddenly things were amazing and peachy keen for either indigenous people or for black people in America. We can talk about Jim Crow. We can talk about redlining. We can talk about all of the things that happened from the Tulsa Massacre onward. But it's just one of those situations where civil rights didn't suddenly begin and end with the election of, say, Barack Obama. And that wasn't the ending of the racism. There's still a lot of problems if you happen to be over-policed, if you happen to be over-incarcerated in the judicial system, if you have more trouble getting a job simply because you have a black sounding name, if you're racially profiled, if you have trouble renting, if you have trouble getting an apartment, because people don't have to say out loud, I'm not going to do this because you're black, but they can just say, hey, of the 3 applicants that applied, 3 white people and 1 black person, I think we're going to give it to one of the white people. They'd probably have a more secure and stable job. There's actual CBC documentaries you can watch where they had indigenous people in Canada try to get rent and get rental, opportunities from the same places they would then send white people to, and the indigenous people were overwhelmingly turned down, even if they had very good resumes, they had stable jobs, blah, 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 but they were very visibly indigenous. And then yes, they experienced systemic racism where they were being profiled, prejudiced. People thought that they might be alcoholics. People thought that they might not have real jobs. They won't be able to pay rent. That it's going to be a disaster. So we have to give it to someone else. All of that is way, way more burdensome in your life than having someone tell you, I bet you like mayonnaise. Yeah, you'll look like someone who likes mayonnaise on your food. Yeah, so what's a taco to you? Little mayo? Yeah, there you have it.
Vice president and presidential candidate is talking about the lack of flavor palette for white people because white people have no flavor palette. Apparently, white people hate spices. I mean, apparently.
And you know what? What's the opposite of all this? Have you seen those like TikTok videos, YouTube videos of white person tries Indian food for the first time and their minds are blown? That's really wholesome. It's really cute to see, when you just see this person from like Milwaukee or something. It's like, okay, so everyone told me I got to try this. I got like, and they'll order very white, dishes, right? Like the butter chicken and stuff like that. But then they'll like have a couple of spoonfuls and be like, oh my my God. This is so unbelievable. What is this, naan? What is this, garlic? And it's infused into the bread? Oh my God. Oh, that's so delicious, right? Like that, it's a wholesome thing, you know, at the very least.
A white people taco is tuna and mayonnaise. That's because white people don't like spicy food at all, which is presumably why between the 15th and 17th centuries, multiple European countries fought a series of wars over the spice route and the spice trade.
Whoa, he's going hardcore on this. Yeah. You try to criticize us, we'll colonize the world. Everyone will die by the sword.
Because they hate spices so darned much. So it's all stupidity, and it's all meant for the consumption of morons. And if you buy into the joy, if you buy into the Barack Obama-like selfie stick presidency, H.L. Mencken suggested that democracy is the theory that the common people know what they want and deserve to get it good and hard. All right, I mean, if this is what you want, this is what you're going to get. But we should mention something about this whole joy routine. You should not find joy in your politicians. You should not. That is not where joy comes from. Joy comes from your family. Joy comes from your community. Joy comes from your religious commitment. Joy comes...
And friendships. Joy can come from friendships. I have a lot of friendships that bring me joy, and I happen to be blessed with a very multicultural friend group. And there are times when you have conversations where, yeah, there will be a light joke or two made about the differences in spice, quantity, and ability, and perhaps the enjoyment of mayonnaise on food. It doesn't hurt you. Right? Like, hey, no one is trying to say on the other end, you should suddenly be just running around and saying every racial slur you can about white people. And whenever you see a white person, call them, white boy and stuff like that. I'm not saying that. I mean, this is very low-hanging fruit if you're doing it from a place of hate. But I'm saying that this is not the same thing. This is not like baby. I know Matt Walsh went off about this, being like, oh, yeah, well, what if I said that I was going to enjoy a black taco and then had watermelon and fried chicken? Everyone would lose their minds. And it's like, different things are different, Matt. You understand why there's a big, big difference between trying to reinforce negative stereotypes that, yes, have a long history in the dehumanization of black people in America, and say someone making a funny joke about how a person who said out loud, I can't have spice. The spice level for me is pepper. That's as high as I go, as a white guy. That was Tim, the white guy. He was making that joke and then like saying, giving you the opportunity to follow up and have fun with me together. It wasn't as if like just out of nowhere she like sat down and immediately was like, Tim, you're white. Because of your melanin deficiency, I know that you can't handle anything other than ketchup. That's the maximum spice level for you, you weak man who can't dance. That's not what happened here. It's very, very different.
Comes from your virtuous action in the world with meaning and purpose. That's where joy comes from. Movements that seek joy via politicians are generally really, really ugly. The joy is a cover for control.
Matt's was more hilarious than Ben Shapiro. Well, you'll be happy to know I got Matt's too.
Okay, so now most people seem to be focused on the fact that this is so awkward and fake and lame, but everyone...
Again, I have gone from me thinking that you all don't have non-white friends, to me now thinking you all don't have friends. Like, the way you're all reading the scenario, I was like, apparently a couple people, but they weren't related by blood or they weren't co-workers, so they were actually hanging out in some kind of a social scenario outside of that. And in that, they were having a conversation in which they were talking about different aspects of their own cultures and societies and having fun and laughing together. We're supposed to feel this is all natural. This is a thing that happens. That people apparently just like talking to each other and the company of fellow humans. Yeah.
Skipping over the more important point, which is that a presidential candidate just casually dropped anti-white racism in the middle of what was supposed to be a lighthearted video. Tim Walsh says that he makes white guy tacos.
He's white. Sorry, is he a self-hating white man? Is that what we're seeing? Is he a race traitor, Matt? Oh my.
And Kamala says, what is that, mayonnaise and tuna? Like, that is anti-white racism. That's
how do you say this with a straight face? I feel like even he almost laughs at the end of that sentence. Anti-white racism. It's a thing we gotta do today.
Well, that is. And if you don't believe that, right, if you think that I'm overstating the case, all right, well, just imagine it the other way. Imagine a black guy says to Donald Trump, I make black guy tacos. And Donald Trump says, oh, what is that, like fried chicken and watermelon?
So I guess when they're tweeting, it's half them preparing for their segment later today. Like, you're going to see the exact same lines and routines. Like Ben Shapiro, he regurgitated his little point, you know, being like, yeah, white people don't like spice. What about when we actually fought and won wars to control the spice? Dune, that was white people, okay? We controlled the spice. And that's like, yeah, well, here's a hell of a zinger that I came up with earlier. And you can totally tell that this is not something that I had ready on the draw. Just, you know, I feel that Matt got so hurt that he may have almost experienced racism for the first time. Almost. But even the idea of almost experiencing racism for the first time made him get way more racist. Just ramped it up. Yeah. And there, that came from one of my tweets, Matt. I'm doing your thing. That was a tweet I made on Friday, and then I brought it back today when I'm doing the, yeah, so here we go.
Maybe sprinkle some Kool-Aid powder over top. Am I right?
Oh, okay, so that part was new. That wasn't in his tweet before. He just said fried chicken and watermelon, so he's added Kool-Aid powder. Yes.
How do you think everybody would react to that? What do you think the reaction would be? Nuclear meltdown. Literally. I mean, they would probably shoot a nuclear missile at Donald Trump for that. They would execute him via nuclear attack.
It would be wild to hear Donald Trump say something racist out loud for the first time. That would be a strange experience. Yeah, you're right. We don't know how the world would react if he was saying racist shit.
If he were to say something like that. I mean, the outrage would be so immense, we would never hear the end of it. The date of this black guy taco comment would be remembered by the media forever and memorialized. Like, for years after, they would solemnly refer to 8/16, right? We'd have January 6th. Do you remember 8/16? I remember where I was on 8/16. The day of the fried chicken and watermelon taco joke.
He's still going on.
They would be weeping in the street. They would build statues and memorials to the lives lost because of the taco joke. KFC and Kool-Aid companies would come out and denounce Trump over this. So would every watermelon distributor in the country. And
it's still going. Still going. Again, by the way, yeah, if you're referring to racial stereotypes that, again, have been part of American history, especially when it comes to minstrel shows, and again, the dehumanization of black people, and being a reinforcer of those stereotypes, Matt, then yes, you are engaging in racism. Having a couple people who are friends hanging out and doing some banter, and then enjoying each other's company and being like, hey, by the way, I don't like spicy food. You don't like spicy food. My word. Yeah, I don't. Spice is my level. You know, I enjoy a taco with a little mayonnaise on it. This is not the same. Different things are different.
We all know that. This is another one of those things where, like, there are people that are going to clip this. They're going to take this clip of me saying that the comment from Kamala Harris was anti-white racism, and they're going to try to present it as though it's just, like, on its face absurd. And
you can't lampshade this. You cannot get ahead of this, okay? You can't be like, and by the way, I know some people are going to call me a triggered snowflake, but I'm not, okay? This is real.
Yet even they know that what I'm saying is 1,000% true, because you damn well know that comment the other way, it wouldn't even be a discussion about whether it's racist. It would be considered the most racist thing a president has ever done, including the presidents who own slaves. And that's in spite of the fact that the watermelon fried chicken trope for black people is actually significantly less racist than what Kamala said.
Wow.
Because black people have a reputation for liking fried chicken and watermelon because
you're doing it. You're gonna imply a racist thing to me? I'll get way more racist than you could ever imagine. Strike me down with your racism. Oh, Matt. So, hey, I love fried chicken and watermelon. I do. I'm even a fan of Kool-Aid as well. That you realize that would be totally different, though, if you were to say that about me than if you were to say that about black people. Do you realize that different things are different? Do you realize why one is based in historical racism and the dehumanization of an entire group, and the other one is someone liking mayonnaise? What are we doing here? I know people are going to think this whole thing's ridiculous, all right, but I just got to say that it's way more racist to say what she said, because I don't even like tuna and mayonnaise on my tacos, all right? I happen to think that's disgusting, so it's more racist.
That's something that actually does come out of black culture. Black comedians make jokes about that kind of stuff all the time.
I mean, we're getting pretty close to, I think, him saying, if black people can say it, why can't I? I don't get it. Why black comedians, black hip hop artists, all I hear them say is the N-word. Why can't I say it? They're saying it. It's in the songs. It's in the music. It's in the stand-up routines.
That sort of joke comes from a place of recognition and affection, really. Like, it's not offensive. There's nothing offensive. Fried chicken's great. Who doesn't like fried chicken? Yeah, it's on the level of like making a joke about how Asian people are good at math. It's like, it's
so yeah, I guess we are learning a lot, right? Because they like to say how much they hate leftist ideas and stuff like that, but then they don't really know what they mean. So if you told them microaggression, I guarantee you they'd know that word was annoying and woke and SJW and something, but they wouldn't be able to explain what it means. And yeah, even if you're doing positive, what you think is positive reinforcement of racial stereotypes, you're still engaging in, once again, othering another group, right? One that has been historically perhaps oppressed. And so if you happen to be a white person who's like, hey, by the way, you're black, that means you're good at basketball. No, it's not racist. It's not racist. I'm just saying that, hey, you're probably good at basketball, right? Probably better than a white person would be. I'm saying that you're talented. What's the problem here? It's a positive. I wish I was good at basketball. All right, that's all I'm saying. So I don't see what the issue is.
Stereotypical. They're not all good at math, but it's not bad to be good at math. It does come from a place of like a lot of them are good at math. And that is also, that's the kind of thing you listen to an Asian comedian. They'll make those kinds of jokes. On the other hand, the mayonnaise thing for white people it's purely spiteful and hateful. There's no, it's not, there's not.
What do you mean? What's hateful about it? How does it mean? Do you like? I guess it's just that like the very idea of being like, so you like mayonnaise, right? Well, what are you saying? What do you say? No, I like paprika. Okay, I'm into cumin. I like other things. I like spices.
Not any kind of affection in it. There's not any kind of recognition. It's not something that actually comes.
Wait, yes, Joe Fox is completely right. White comedians make that joke all the time. Stand up even. All right, how's that different, Matt? What's going on? Are you not going to allow them to reclaim these harmful stereotypes and then find joy in them? Is that what you're trying to take away?
From white people or white culture. White people don't actually have any special affinity for mayonnaise. There's not any, like, it doesn't come from.
Oh, come on. We can admit it at this point. Come on, Matt. We do. It's irresistible to us. White folk, when we see mayonnaise, oh my God. Yeah, but like we try. We'll be in a room and then someone will like take out the groceries and like, oh, do you want anything, coffee, tea, or something like that? And then you'll see them take out the Hellman and then you look over and like, oh my God. Oh my God. Ooh, that's the new kind. That's the new flavor. Extra garlic. Aioli mayo. Ooh. Oh, I don't even need anything to dip that in. Just open up that jar and pour it all over me. I mean, yeah, sure, tea would be nice. I would like a tea, maybe. Perhaps we could have a plate of a potato-like product, something that would require us to dip stuff into to enable to consume some of perhaps that sweet, sweet nectar of the gods that you have inside there.
You talk to white people, they're like, you know what, I love mayonnaise. Doesn't happen. It's not a thing. The mayonnaise trope.
It's totally a thing.
It comes from
even right now,
like the most spiteful corners of black Twitter. Yeah, that's where you'll find those kinds of.
He's making my lack of melanin.
They'll refer to white people as the mayonnaise people, that kind of thing. I mean, it's real. It's a dumb.
They'll refer to white people as the mayonnaise people. I love this so much. I honestly, the whole Taco Gate thing is a gift. We needed it in the midst just to cut up all the rest of the fucking deluge of horrifying atrocities that are going on in the world. We needed a little break to realize how utterly absurd and ridiculous this all is, you know? For us mayonnaise people to have to deal with this level of bigotry and prejudice, I tell you, 2024, it's quite the scene.
It's really stupid, but it's quite like spiteful. It's just like a hateful, we hate you and don't like you kind of joke.
In Belgium, they gave us mayo for the fries. It was weird. Oh, isn't that the Quebec as well? I like that. I enjoy an aioli. I like a little dip for those fries. I like other dips as well, and I'll enjoy a spicy dip too. And sometimes I mix the spicy sauce with the mayonnaise, and you can make an extra spicy mayonnaise. Spicy mayonnaise is good too. I know. It feels like something that white people would never be able to even conceive of, let alone consume. But we've done it. I've seen it. I've tried it myself.
So it is an insult that some black people came up with to make fun of white people. It's not good-natured or friendly or grounded in any kind of affection or recognition.
Yes, it is.
At all. So
it's harmless. It's harmless and silly and fun and cute. And it was said by a white guy. It was a white guy doing a self-deprecating joke, being like, "Yeah, for me, spice, pepper is the highest I can go. That's considered spicy where I'm from. I enjoy, you know, like a white guy taco." And it's like, well, what is a white guy taco? Like mayonnaise? Like, come on, the stakes are zero. So I guess Trump supporters are carrying around fake cups of JD Vance's semen. I did see this. I saw this as well. Where's the actual clip of it? Yeah, I clearly never leaving the weird charges. Carrying around JD Vance cum cups. Cum cups, JD Vance. This is but it's you Democrats who are the weird ones. They are normal, doing normal things, just heading out to a rally with my JD Vance cum cup to fill it with cum and freedom. Unvaxxed, of course. Unvaxxed cum. They're not fucking around.
What Kamala said is worse. Like, it's significantly worse, and yet it barely raises an eyebrow. It does. Yeah, whatever.
No one cares about anti-white racism. You were right. Matt Walsh was way funnier. That was absolutely darling.
The groundbreaking discovery here.
Yeah, whatever happened to comedy is legal, the right of getting better at comedy, it's making the left nervous, you know, all that kind of shit. I just see snowflakes everywhere. You're all just easily offended snowflakes.
Jesus, on a hunch, I thought, I wonder if Tim Walz is lying about how people in Minnesota.
Also, you know why I keep making fun of the fact that it's kind of like you're experiencing what you think is like racial oppression for the first time, but you can just see how desperate they are to have oppression simulator working in overdrive, where now all of them are like, this is the worst racism that's ever racism. I hope people realize this. There probably won't ever be a worse racism than this moment in time. And yeah, it's distinctly anti-white bigotry and hatred of the likes of which has never been seen before, honestly.
Soda don't season their food. He won a recipe contest in 2016. And
wait, they're trying to debunk him? Are you gonna community notes him? He says that the highest level of spice he can handle is pepper, when it turns out he's actually cooked before using a variety of spices. Many spices. I can see 1 can of diced mild green chilies. Mild, but still green chilies, diced or not. Chili powder, onion powder, garlic powder. My God. Paprika. Whoa. He lied to us.
it includes seasoning, including chili powder. Oh my God. Oh my, this is, they got to replace him on the ticket now. It's
Chico
over.
Heard about spices, now he's all
over.
excited.
So in case you forgot, Chico. Mike Cernovich
got spices on the brain.
Is the Pizzagate guy, or at least one of the Pizzagate guys. Pizzagate conspiracy theorist. This is the guy that Don Jr. thought should have won a Pulitzer. And maybe he's going to renew those calls since he's discovered that Tim Walz actually seasons his food.
How are you doing?
Incredible discovery, Cernovich. So a little more from Rolling Stone here. Walz has multiple award-winning hot dish recipes, but his 2016 Tim's Turkey Taco Tot hot dish included diced mild green chilies.
My God.
Medium taco sauce.
Oh God.
And
medium?
2 teaspoons of chili powder.
What are you, a fucking madman? Medium? Huh.
While it's probably his most adventurous take on a hot dish, the overall result remains a decidedly mild baked concoction dominated by its traditional use of ground meat, turkey in this case, cream of mushroom soup.
What?
Tater tots and cheese. Walz also...
Okay, wait. I'm sorry. No, you went from funny to abomination. Cream of mushroom soup. What is going on here?
Has a more traditional turkey trot variation of his recipe, which features nothing that
He's a sick freak. Classic Midwest.
He misconstrued as spicy. I love this paragraph here. Much like Trump thinking the legal process of asylum might have some correlation to Hannibal Lecter, It seems that conservatives may have confused the hot in hot dish to mean spicy rather than something served hot after being baked in an oven.
Oh, don't go down this road. Whatever, you have to eat like lukewarm food now, or it's racist.
Fantastic. I want to.
What, you want a hot soup? That's racist.
Credit her to the writer. This is from Nikki McCon.
Cream of mushroom is used in a lot of Midwest dishes. I've seen plenty of things in the U.S. Hey, I'm not against the idea of using other salty things to flavor stuff. Like umami is really, really good. You know, maybe using soy sauce, miso paste, stuff like that in order to increase the flavor profile. Really, really good little, like, you know, life hack / technique you can do because it actually has a little bit more richness and body to it. But using just cream of mushroom soup in a taco casserole, that I don't know if these worlds should ever meet. Kind of thing. Sometimes, you know what? I could be dead wrong. I could make this recipe and it turns out to be absolutely phenomenal. Kind of hard to fuck up just having lots of tater tots and anything, really. But I think we're going too far here, you know?
Ramirez. Great job. From the Alberta Civil Liberties Research Center. They help to explain the reverse racism as a myth. While assumptions and stereotypes about white people do exist, this is considered racial prejudice, not racism. So racial prejudice refers to a set of discriminatory or derogatory attitudes based on assumptions derived from perceptions about race and or skin color. Thus, racial prejudice can indeed be directed at white people. For example, white people can't dance, but is not considered racism because of the systemic relationship to power.
A comedian put this really, really well. I'm a ramen.
A lot of people don't like my comedy. A lot of white people don't like my comedy. A lot of white people say this to me. Hey, Amir. Hey. Get on stage, you make your jokes about white people, you say white people this, white people that. What if I did something like that, huh? What if I got on stage and I said, yeah, black people are like this, Muslims are like that. You'd probably call me a racist, wouldn't you? And I say, yeah, I would. Yeah, you should never do that. That's bad for your health. They're like, well, you do that, Amir. You do that. You get on stage. You make your jokes about white people. Don't you think that's a kind of racism? Don't you think that's dun dun dun? Reverse racism.
Reverse racism.
I don't think that's reverse racism. Not because I think reverse racism doesn't exist, right? If you ask some black and brown people, they'll tell you flat out there is no such thing as reverse racism. I don't agree with that. I think there is such a thing as reverse racism, and I could be a reverse racist if I wanted to. All I would need would be a time machine, right? And what I'd do is I'd get in my time machine, I'd go back in time to before Europe colonized the world, right? And I'd convince the leaders of Africa, Asia, the Middle East, Central and South America to invade and colonize Europe, right? Just occupy them, steal their land and resources, set up some kind of, like, I don't know, trans-Asian slave trade where we exported white people to work on giant rice plantations in China. Just ruin Europe over the course of a couple of centuries so all their descendants would want to migrate out and live in the places where black and brown people come from. But of course, in that time, I'd make sure I set up systems that privilege black and brown people at every conceivable social, political, and economic opportunity. White people would never have any hope of real self-determination. Just every couple of decades, make up some fake war as an excuse to go and bomb them back to the Stone Age and say it's for their own good because their culture's inferior, and then, just for kicks, subject white people to colored people's standards of beauty, so they end up hating the color of their own skin, eyes, and hair. If, after hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years of that, I got on stage at a comedy show and said, hey, what's the deal with white people? Why can't they dance? That would be reverse racism.
Hey, if you'd like to unlock secret bonus episodes as well as uncensored content, go to patreon.com/The Serfs. This show is produced by Anna Loves Riley, Arian McCarthy, Cheryl Alvarez, Comrade Junkie, Doug Caddy, Everything Important, Hagbard Celine, Jimmy Sombrero, Multimondi, Omni, Political Poppy, Preston Kroll, Quiet 185, Riley and Anna, Roller Dragon, Cernicus, Stellar Gwyn, Sebastian Demel, Travis McClinton, Trincell, Words Greenwood. With additional support coming from all of these amazing human beings right here.